So it's 9 o'clock. We can start. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Pujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayuta Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. So welcome back. I've missed being with you for 2 weeks that I haven't been in your association and company and discussed the beautiful Ramayana. So I'm delighted to be in your association, and because you have interest in Ramayana and keeps me inspired, I'm grateful to you. Where we left off is that very dastardly scene of Ravana kidnapping Sita Devi, and she was yelling and shrieking in agony, and Jatayu, who was dozing off on a branch, heard this and followed that voice, and he saw Ravana on a chariot taking Sita away. And Ravana then Jatayu warned Ravana in very, very harsh words. There was a warning, there was a request. He called him Mere Bhai, my friend, my brother, listen to what I have to say. So he pleaded, he warned, he chided him, he chastised him. Nothing seemed to have worked. So Jatayu told him, stop and fight me. Although I am older, I'm much older than you are, Ravana, but I have dedicated my life in the service and honor of my ancestors, and that is my strength. You may think of me as some old bird and may dismiss my strength, but I'm not such a person. And that's where we left off. We're going to start with chapter 51. When Jatayu spoke like this, Ravana became very angry. And 51 starts with Iti uktaha krodha tamraksha tapta kanchana kundalaha rakshasendro abhidudravav patagendram amarshanam. That having been spoken to by Jatayu in such a manner, Ravana became completely furious, krodha, and that anger was seen that his eyes became coppery red, tamraksha. Tamra is copper. Tamraksha means coppery red, became very angry. Now, how many eyes was he showing anger by? 20 eyes, 10 heads, so 20 eyes. Usually when a person is angry, their 2 eyes become fiery or reddish, Ravana's all 20 eyes became reddish. And Kanchana Kundala, his earrings, the earrings that were hanging from the ears of all the heads, they started shining in a particular resplendence. And Ravana very mercilessly attacked Patagendra, the king of the birds, Jatayu. He with the force went towards Jatayu. And suddenly the two clashed mid-air, like two clouds. When they clash with each other, there is thunder in the sky. And when there is a flash of lightning, any person who's even around gets scared. It was like two massive clouds colliding with each other in the sky. It also seemed, according to Valmiki, like two massive Malyavanta mountains. There's only one, but it seems like there were two, so two of equal strength in one sense, two Malyavanta mountains clashing against each other. And it was startling. All the living beings in that area became stunned by that fierceness of their fight. Then Ravana started shooting arrows at Jatayu with as if a stream, non-stop arrows were being shot, and they were very excruciating, deadly arrows. Some of them were tubular, like a tube. Some of them were made with iron. Some had this crescent-shaped heads, and when they attack, they drill a hole in the person's body. But Jatayu somehow sustained all of those arrows on his body. It didn't matter. His adrenaline, if you will, was so intense that it didn't matter to him. He gave his complete strength to fight. So he doesn't have weapons. So he flew towards Ravana, and with his claws or fang, yeah, with his claws, started clawing at Ravana's body, and with all the stamina that he had, and pieces of flesh from Ravana's body was torn by Jatayu. And obviously Ravana became infuriated that something like this, how can Jatayu do? So he started firing even more deadly arrows at Jatayu. Ravana was not going to become easily tired. He started shooting arrows by stretching his the bowstring all the way to his ear with very, very sharp pointed arrows that were hurtful and perhaps even deadly. And Jatayu, as he was seeing Sita Devi, who was crying and on the chariot, while these arrows were lunging at him, it didn't matter. He went forth again. And although Ravana's bow was a very mighty bow, one, it was very strong, it was gilded, it had gold on it, and it was studded with pearls, diamonds, rubies, emeralds. It was so beautiful to look at. And the way he was shooting or mounting arrows on this bow, it was a fantastic sight. But somehow Jatayu went, and with his bare feet or legs of the vulture bird, he completely broke Ravana's bow. Just broke it. Ravana became very, very upset because no one has the guts in the entire three worlds to face off with Ravana. Forget about speaking to him, actually fighting, and that to an old vulture bird. Ravana became so angry, he took another bow and started shooting hundreds and thousands of arrows at Jatayu, like a storm. And somehow, within this shower of arrows, Jatayu actually became even more effulgent, and didn't care what the kind of obstacle or what adversity Ravana was pushing back. on Jatayu. Again, Jatayu went and shattered Ravana's bow completely. And very quickly after breaking Ravana's bow, Jatayu went and pecked on Ravana's armor and tore it off. And that armor was flaming like fire. Just tore off that armor. Then, before Ravana could think and do something, Jatayu flew to where the mules were yoked on his chariot and completely killed the mules that were carrying or driving this chariot. And killed his charioteer as well. This chariot had very special bamboo yokes studded with gems, the wheels that were made in a very special way, radial tires, if you will, golden gemstones, all sorts of things. It looked resplendent like a sacrificial fire, but Jatayu completely destroyed Ravana's chariot. And then, before Ravana could figure out what was going on, Jatayu flew and broke the flag, the umbrella that was there on Ravana's chariot, not flag, Ravana's umbrella. Just completely broke it down. And there were these white chamara fans that were there on his chariot. He completely destroyed that as well. So anything that looked like a royal chariot right now looked like a completely, what we say in America, a totaled car. And in a very quick action, Jatayu started pecking off Ravana's heads with his beak. And so with this sharp beak, as he was pecking on his heads, Ravana was in excruciating pain. So Ravana disposed of the chariot, his charioteer, and held Sita by her waist and jumped down to the ground. When Ravana was on the ground, all the Siddhas, Charanas, and other celestial beings started glorifying Jatayu, that what guts he has and what strength. Actually, Jatayu doesn't have strength comparable to Ravana's, but he was putting out whatever he could. That was a desperate measure. But in this fight, Ravana saw that Jatayu was becoming fatigued. So, becoming very gladdened that that was the case, Ravana rose up into the sky again. And Jatayu also rose up into the sky to stop Ravana. However, Ravana had a sword in his hand. And before Ravana could use the sword with one of his 10 right arms, Jatayu clawed and pecked and tore 10 of Ravana's left arms. Because of his power, all those arms sprouted back again. A mystical fellow. And now with his sword, and Jatayu becoming tired with, because he's fighting with such gusto, and Jatayu was still continuing to warn Ravana that you're such a horrible fellow, you're taking away the wife of Sri Ramachandra, and that your death is going to come to you soon. You're having a rope of Kala Pasha. Basically means that the death noose around your neck, that your time has come to an end. If you continue with this kind of behavior, or as if the hook is in the fish's palate, because then the fish cannot escape, how do you expect that you will escape from Ramachandra's wrath? And he says that Sri Ramachandra will come and finish you off. He says, Nahi jatu duradharsho kakutstho tava Ravana Darshanam cha ashramasya asya ksamishyate tu Raghava. Both Rama and Lakshmana, they will come and they will completely destroy you and your clan. And you're doing such a horrible thing. Stop, don't take Sita away. Ravana obviously would not hear any such advice, and with his sword, as Jatayu is clawing him and pecking at him, even started pulling his hair off. I mean, anyone has an experience of how it feels when hair is pulled off? It's very painful. But Jatayu was just plucking Ravana's hair off and tearing his flesh. So Ravana then took his sword and very, very quickly cut off the two legs and the two wings of Jatayu. And in such a swift action that Jatayu immediately fell to the earth because now he could not do anything. Sa chinna paksha sahasa rakshasa raudra karmana nipapata mahagurudro dharanyam alpa jivita. Alpa jivita means only a little bit of life left in him. Nipapata Mahagrado, this great vulture, fell down to the ground, Dharanyam, onto the ground. And when Jatayu fell immediately to the ground like that, Sita could not stop her tears and her sadness. Tam drashtva patitam bhumau kshataja ardram jatayusham abhyadhavat vaidehi swabandhum iva dukkhita. Sita Devi felt like her own relative was butchered. Swabandhum iva dukkhita, as sad as her. And she ran towards Jatayu. And she started crying. As far as Ravana is concerned, he kept looking at Jatayu and then taking stock of how he was very badly bruised. And Jatayu on the ground was this blackish bird with a white mark on his chest. Then Sita, who by her countenance is more beautiful than a full moon, went and hugged Jatayu. Now, some people say, how can she touch another man? And in this case, she did. These kinds of rules she did not follow. Tatha tuptam patraratham mahitale. Mahitale means on the surface of the earth. Nipapata Ravana Vega Marditam, because he had fallen by Ravana's very fast and furious slaying of Jatayu's wings. Punahacha Sangrishya Shashiprabha Anana, one whose face is like a full moon. Ruroda Sita Janakatmaja Tata. Then Sita, who's the daughter of Janaka, was crying piteously and she was hugging. The question that may be raised, that Sita, who's a chaste woman, how is she hugging Jatayu? One is a bird, and that too not a pious bird, but more importantly is another male. And the understanding is that Jatayu is the age of um, Dasharat Maharaj. So she is embracing him as a daughter would embrace her father. So there is no violation of chastity, there is no violation of purity, and there is absolutely no black mark on Sita's full moon like countenance or personality. And Sita then cried, and who kept on crying like this because Jatayu was almost dead, Alpa Jivita, very little life left in him. But he's holding on to that life because his service is not done yet. So then um, Sita is glorifying Jatayu's service. That uh, some people, uh, their pain is such that they don't take on anyone else's pain. But Jatayu, although you're old and Ravana, you had no match for Ravana, you did not think about these things. Hmm? And then she is praying to or calling out to Ramachandra in her agony. That generally, when inauspiciousness is about to happen, there are some omens or indicators. Hmm? So she says, Nimitta Lakshanam. Nimitta means some ways of identifying. Lakshanam is characteristics. And she says, what are those ways in which people get a sense of something going to happen? She says, Swapnam. People get a dream. And in the dream, they see something bad is going to happen or something good is going to happen. And so we know in Ramayana, Bharata had a dream. And next day, that messenger came to ask Bharata to come back to Ayodhya. And Bharata's dream was that something wrong was happening in Ayodhya. Later in Ramayana, Trijata says to all the Rakshasis that she had a dream that Ravana and the entire Rakshasa race was destroyed, and Ramachandra had arrived there to recover Sita back with an army of monkeys. That was the dream she had. So that indication was already there. Or later in Ramayana, when Ramachandra and Lakshmana shake hands and formalize their pact of friendship, it says that the left eye and left shoulder of three persons started to twitch: Ravana, Vali, and Sita. So that's the indicator. So first is Swapnam, in a dream. Then she says another way one gets an indicator is Shakuni, Swara Darshanam. Shakuni Swara Darshanam is birds, apparently they call out in a particular way. This is called Shakuni Shastra. Therefore, in India, they say, or at least in South India, that Shakunam is not nice. It's basically that birds, apparently, when they fly from one direction to another, is an indicator of good or bad that's going to happen. We don't see any birds anymore, and nor can we pick up how many birds will we see flying, because in Kali Yuga, everything is inauspicious. But this is a science. Then she says, Avashyam Sukha Dukkheshu Naranam Paridrushyate. So human beings have ways in which they get some sense of premonition. Oh, Ramachandra, in this situation, now that Jatayu is being maimed so badly, are you not getting any indication? Is your left shoulder or left eye not twitching? Are the birds not indicating to you? Are you not getting a dream or some idea like that? Then she says, No nunam Rama janasi mahat vyasanam atmanah dhavanti nunam kakutstha madartham murga pakshinah. Are the uh, this big catastrophe that is going on, that Jatayu is being hurt and I'm being kidnapped, how come you're not becoming aware of it? Even though the animals and birds seem to run in your direction to tell you. Even the birds and animals want to tell you that I am being kidnapped. And she says, I am hi kripaya Rama, mam tratum iha sangataha, shete vinihato bhumau, mama abhyagat vihangama. O Ramachandra, this vihangama, this bird, who very mercifully has come here to save me, has been very horribly uh, hurt by Ravana and is fallen on the earth. Shete means he's lying down. Vinihato, very badly hurt. Bhumau, on the earth. So Sita was crying. Oh Ramachandra, oh Lakshmana, please help me. Yet, in all of this, Ravana did not want anything else. So he just rushed towards Sita. And by this time, in all of this activity, Sita's jewelry and garlands were all entangled. They were not nicely ordered, they were entangled. And she was crying piteously. Ravana rushed towards Sita Devi. He became very angry and told her, just leave Jatayu. And uh, although she was very strongly clinging on, saying, Rama, Rama, please help me. And when she was being insulted by Ravana, and what happened at that time is Ravana held Sita's hair tightly and pulled her away from Jatayu. Now, this act of a man pulling a woman by her hair is very, very sinful. This is what Dushasana did to Draupadi when she, because first of all, um, Draupadi was isolated because she was going through her period. So apparently they only wear at that time one piece of cloth. And she was in isolated, but Dushasana went and held her by her hair and dragged her into the assembly. And the Mahabharata description is that when Draupadi was being dragged into that assembly, there were streaks of blood on the floor because she's going through her period. And she's yelling and crying. On the one hand, she wants to hold on to her hair because it hurts when Dushasana, who has strength of 1,000 elephants, is yanking strongly at her hair, but she's also wearing one piece of cloth. So should she be holding her cloth? Should she be holding her hair? Plus, the assembly is full of princes, ministers, bards, and the great grandfathers like Bhishma Deva, her father-in-law, Dhritarashtra, although he cannot see, but he can sense what's going on, Vidura, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, they're all there. So there is also this bashfulness, shy, holding on to her cloth, plus Dushasana pulling her. And it is that reason that Dushasana pulled her hair and everyone else kept quiet, is why in the Kurukshetra war, they all were killed. Ravana, when he pulled Sita Devi's hair, even Lord Brahma from his abode said, oh, the deed is done. Drishtva Sitam Paramrishtam Devi Divyena Chakshusha Kritam Karyam iti Shriman Vyajahara Pitamaha. Pitamaha is Lord Brahma. He said Kritam Karyam iti. The job is done. The job is done. What is the job? They're all waiting that one day Ravana will be killed by Sri Ramachandra. But for that to happen, Ravana has to commit a very, very grave offense. And the moment he pulled Sita by her hair in the act of kidnapping, that was it. It was the last straw on the camel's back, proverbial camel's back, that even Lord Brahma said, this is it. This is it by which Ravana will be killed. So, in one sense, there was a mix of emotions. Lord Brahma, because his worshipable deity is Ramachandra and Sita Devi, on the one hand, it is very painful to see Sita being insulted this way. And on the other hand, Brahma became very happy. So he had a mix of feelings. He was happy and very sad at the same time. Prahasta Vyatitacha. Vyatita means feeling very morose. Prahasta means feeling very happy. He was feeling very morose for Sita, but very happy for the entire universe. That this was the time that such a cruel demon would be killed. When the other residents of Dandaka forest saw what Sita was being put to, all of them didn't know how to react. Uh, they sort of internally felt a very grave sense of sadness, but in their faces they could not express it, lest Ravana see anyone and kill them. And while Ravana is wrestling Sita, or she's wrestling Ravana, loudly she's calling out, Rama, Rama, Lakshmana, Satu Rama, Satu Tam. Satu Tam means he was pulling her, Tam. Rama, Rama iti rudantim, Lakshmana iti cha. So she's crying out, Rama, Rama, Lakshmana. Jagama adaya cha akasham, Ravano Rakshaseswaraha. The Lord of the Rakshasas took Sita and flew into the sky. And the way the visual Valmiki gives us is Tapta Abharanam Varna Agni Pita Kausheyam Vasisini Raraja Rajaputritu Vidyuta Saudamani Yatha. Very beautiful verse. Saudamini means a cloud. So Sita Devi was so effulgent, and Ravana was such a dark cloud, and her jewelry was also shining with pure gold, and that she was wearing yellow pitambar or golden clothes. It looked like a flash of lightning in the sky. And Ravana, with his fiery, feisty self, looked like a mountain that was on fire. And as Ravana was flying there, her face was distraught, yet she was on Ravana's side. And during this time, some of her jewelry was falling off. Yet Ravana held her very, very strongly and kept flying. But that was not enough. Then Sita chastises Ravana very badly again. So this Ravana fellow is being chastised by so many people again and again, but somehow he doesn't seem to learn his lesson. This is not just now, even more as the story progresses. He's chastised by all the saintly persons. He's chastised by all the Rakshasas also, his own grandfather, his older brother, younger brother Vibhishana, or the younger brother Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana, they also chastise him. Yet, somehow, good words or good advice to a stupid fellow are like water on a duck's body. He never gets wet, nothing sticks. So when Sita became very frantic, her eyes, where you never hear, her eyes are always described as asitekshana, one whose eyes are black, like a deer. Have you seen a deer's eye? The deer's eyeball is so big, black, pretty much covers the entire eye. But that Sita Devi was now described as one who had coppery red eyes. Rosha Rodana. She was crying with complete anger. Rosha Rodana Tamrakshi. Bhimaksham. Bhimaksham means big eyes. Rakshasa Adhipa, to the king of the Rakshasas. Rudati Karunam Sita Hriyamanam Idam Abravit. She was crying while she was being kidnapped, and this is what she says. Ravana, you're a thief, you're a petty thief. Vyapatrapase nicha karmana anena. You're making such a your action is so deplorable. Nicha karmana. You're not even the least bit ashamed. Gyatva virahitam yo mam chorayati palayase. You have no shame. You have not even the slightest concern that, hey, I come from a Brahmana family. My father is the great sage. My grandfather is Pulastya. Great grandfather is Lord Brahma. I have Kubera is my older brother. No shame at all. You're black hearted. Your heart is so badly conditioned. Tvaya eva nunam dushtatman bhiruna hartumichata mama apavahito bharta mrigarupena maya. You have such uh, black, dirty heart that you are stealing me uh, by sending a illusory deer, and uh, uh, you use the illusory deer as a decoy, and stealing me when Ramachandra is not around. Even when Jatayu, who's an old friend of my father-in-law, he came to help me out, and you killed him. You had no sense of remorse that this one is more elderly to you, is senior to you, both in age and in learning, and is giving you good advice. And what will you do? You cut him off. This is how you treat them. Well, how audacious are you? Huh? And then she says, uh, you are only interested in um, gloating about yourself. This gloating is called Shaundirya. Shaundirya Manina. Generally, when you say Shunda in Sanskrit, Shunda means very glorious or glory. And you'll hear Shunda show up in some of Shankaracharya's compositions where he's glorifying a certain personality. It's a common term, Shunda. Uh, but he's saying Shaundirya Manina. Ravana, you're glorifying yourself, self-admirer. Admiration should come from others. But if you gloat about yourself, that is the worst thing to do. And then she says, Dhikte Shauryam. So this Dhikkara means damn it, or damn your glory, Shauryam, your virility, your valiance, Shaurya, Dhikkara. Cha sattvam cha yat tvaya kaditam tada kula akroshakaram loke dikte charitram idrisham. Just see your character, damn your position, damn your kingdom, and damn your great so-called greatness has no value for me. In fact, if you are really a strong warrior, as you call yourself, just wait. Wait for a moment for Lord Ramachandra to come. These two men, Rama and Lakshmana, will finish you and your entire military. Just two persons are enough if you just wait for a moment. You're thinking that because you hurt Jatayu, an old bird, that you can stand anyone. Imagine if one old bird like Jatayu can cause so much damage to you by tearing your flesh out and ripping your arms off and ripping your hair. Can you imagine what a youthful Ramachandra and a youthful Lakshmana can do to you? Have you not heard what they did to Khara, Dushana, Trishara, and 14,000 other demons in a moment, a fraction of time? Ramachandra destroyed all of them. Who are you? Huh? And she said, all indications show that you are inviting your own death. Hmm? I curse you that you will actually dream of the hellish planets. So, generally, when a person dreams of a golden tree with leaves that are flowing, that is the indication that death is about to come. So, she's telling Ravana, you will dream of such a tree very soon. And Ravana, you will see river Vaitarani. So, this Vaitarani river separates the hellish planets from the universe. And this Vaitarani river is filled with blood, pus, and other really gut wrenching elements. That is an indicator that if you see a dream of, if you dream of Vaitarani, that means your door for hellish planets has opened up. And that's what Ravana you will see. You will see silk trees that have leaves of molten gold, and those trees have very, very sharp thorns in them. And then she says, merciless Ravana, uh, the kind of activity that you are doing is nothing but poisonous for you and for anyone who follows you. The time, Kala, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi, that I come as death. That Kala is when someone's time is up. So death is a form of the Lord that can kill even the greatest of persons. So she's saying that you will see Ramachandra as Kala. And Ravana, stop. And while she's crying, Ravana is continuing to fly in the sky. And at this point, they are right over Rishamukha mountain. And Sita Devi, while she's crying and chastising Ravana, she looks down and she sees 5 Vanaras looking up from a mountaintop at this scene. So she thinks, oh, maybe what I can do is leave some sort of signal. And so while Ravana is not caring to look at what Sita is doing, he is looking towards Lanka and that's where they're going. She removes some of her jewelry and wraps them up in her top cloth, the cloth that she wears on her body, and drops it down to those Vanaras, thinking maybe Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana will meet these Vanaras and they in turn will talk about uh, who was taking me. And these Vanaras saw this jewel inside a pack of cloth dropping towards them. Ravana didn't care. He went on flying and he crossed the ocean, the southern part of India. And as he crossed across the ocean, Varuna Deva, who's the lord of the ocean, found it so painful and upheaving that his emotions are described that suddenly the ocean had massive tidal waves and all aquatics inside were completely taunted because in one sense the sea was crying. From a Vedic perspective, Lakshmi Devi is the daughter of the ocean. That's where in the churning of the milk ocean, Lakshmi Devi appears from that ocean. So in one sense, the father is looking at the daughter's plight and helplessly is crying. Sita Devi, in her chastisement of Ravana, she tells him that he is no better than a tail of a dog. And commentators express that Shunha Pucham Iva Pandityam Dharma Varjitam. That a scholar who only has knowledge but has no behavior associated with that knowledge is like the tail of a dog. Now, the meaning of that is, if you look at the tail of, let's say, a cow or a camel, then the tail has two functions. One is the tail covers the private part of, if you will, of the cow, the genitals, it covers it. And the tail is useful for flicking mosquitoes and flies that will land or sit on the cow. The cow uses the tail for flicking these fleas, these pests. So the tail is useful. It keeps the cow's shyness, if you will, and used as an instrument. But a dog's tail is turned up and it exposes the rear end of the dog. So even if the dog has a tail, it has no value. The dog does not use the tail to flick any flies or mosquitoes and do any good for itself. And it shows everything nicely in the open. So the point is that dog having a tail has no value. So once two scholars were having such an argument, so then the other person said, "Oh, if that is the case, why should the dog have a tail in the first place?" And if the second scholar said, "Well, the very fact that the dog is a tail is the Lord's way of showing an example for us visually in the world that an asset that is not used properly does not create any value for a person." And Ravana then brought Sita Devi straight into his palace and told his followers, "Fulfill every wish she has. If she asks for gold, ornaments, clothing, any kind of amenities, don't even hesitate. Just the way you would fulfill my desires, fulfill any wish she has." And then he turned to 8 ferocious demons, his very close allies, and told them, "I want you to go to Janasthan and stand guard there. And don't underestimate Rama and Lakshmana. They were able to uh, kill Khara, Dushana, Trishara, and 14,000 demons. So when you look at them, they may seem like ordinary human beings or something, but don't underestimate them. They're very formidable. I want you to stay there. I want you to find out what's going on and keep me posted. Send me texts continuously of what is happening there in Janasthan. I want to know news of what is going on." And with that, chapter 54 ends. Let's see if there are any questions and comments or thoughts.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Haribol.
All imagine Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, question arises. You narrated in such a like heart-touching way the whole incident and the injustice that happened to Mother Sita and Jatayu. And then, of course, also the injustice that happened to Mother Draupadi. So I was thinking, of course, Lord Rama at one point tells Ravan that if you just surrender unto me, then I'll forgive all of this, right? All of this, you just have to surrender. And also Krishna told Duryodhan, right, that, he gave him one last chance, that if you, that we can just avert the whole war. I guess, what was the condition? He also had to surrender or something?
Yeah, something like that. He told him, no need to fight, give the Pandavas the kingdom that is due to them. Both of you can share the kingdom. They will be happy, you'll be happy. Only 5 villages is what they want.
So both Lord Krishna and Lord Rama are willing to just like completely forgive injustice done to their devotees if the person just surrenders unto them. It's a little baffling. My need for justice is very much primed right now. So I'm really worked up about this.
The nature of, let me say it differently. The act of surrender is a very, very powerful act. That if a person surrenders, then um, then whoever is the other person, we're not even talking about Lord Ramachandra or Krishna here at the moment, just two persons. Surrender is such a feature that it evokes in the other person a sense of forgiveness. That's just the nature of surrender. Even in a fierce battle, right? Even in today's terms, where sense of forgiveness is not so strong, when someone waves a white flag and surrenders, the other side will not shoot and kill. They will capture them, but they will not kill. That's the whole act of showing a white flag that I surrender. So, surrender is an act that evokes compassion. That's just how it is. Now, what to speak when we talk about the heart of the Supreme Lord, which is strong like a thunderbolt, but soft like butter at the same time. So, if Ravana did not surrender, he would get the strong. Had he surrendered, he would get the softness of butter. The act of surrender has that power in it. So, one hand, offering justice, or making sure that there is justice in the world is there, and that is why Ramachandra holds a bow and arrow. That is the significance of it. Lord Vishnu carries conch and lotus in two hands, but he also has chakra and gada in the other two hands. So it depends on the disposition of the person. They either get the chakra or gada or the lotus. It's all about how a person, so he gives enough chances. Ravana, before he was given chances, Sita is giving him a chance. Ravana, don't do this. This is not in your good. If for your own and for the entire clan of yours, don't do it. And then she says, you're going to see hellish conditions. That's the inexplicable forgiveness capacity of the Lord. It's bewildering, but it requires surrender.
And in that surrender, the purification of heart of the offender has taken place. And therefore, the possibility of doing that again, or it's pacifying for the person that may have been on the other side of the injustice, because the purification.
Because someone like Ravana or Duryodhana, who's both of them are so egotistical that the idea of bowing down to someone doesn't exist. But if such a person were to bow down, that means they have eaten humble pie. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult to bow down. Bow down, Mr. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. One can't bow down. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says, Pranipatena, Pariprashnena. The bow down is the first step for mercy to descend. Without bowing down, the mercy cannot come. But that's the act. That's the heart of the Lord. And it is her heart as well. Sita's heart is also like that. As soon as someone says, forgive me. In fact, there are all the Rakshasis who don't even say anything. She's going there to relieve them from Ravana's association. She just has to look at him and say, die, you fellow, and that fellow will be gone. But she wants the glory for Ramachandra. That's one. Second, she wants to go and release all his associates there. Vibhishana has to get, I'm digressing from our topic for a moment. We cannot get this Lord's mercy without his consort's mercy coming first. So the act that she dropped the jewels to the monkeys on the mountain is now that because of her grace, they will get the association of Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana. She's going to Lanka. All of them will be released from their condition because of her grace. So that is her heart. And back to your question, that one act of bowing down or surrendering to the Lord would nullify everything.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead. Hari.
I have a question that even though Ravana led Sita, why did he hold the hair of Sita and kill her?
Do you live in India?
No.
Yes?
Yes, no.
Okay. Because in India, I can give you examples of how certain things. This idea of attraction or love, when it is not pure, it can take the form of hurting the very person that one says they love. Sometimes parents will hit their children saying, I'm hitting you out of love, I'm punishing you out of love. It doesn't make sense. Or in India, something that is very horrendous. I just don't, I cannot wrap my head around such a act is a boy will like a girl very, very much. Okay. He will tell her, oh, I like you, I love you. And she will tell him, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Charlie. And will not accept his advances. That anger of rejection is such that although he loves her, he'll throw acid at her. But if I can't have you, no one can have you. It's not love. Although there is attraction, it's very selfish, it's very weird. So Ravana likes Sita because he wants to possess her, but because she's not agreeing, he is taking her by force and so pulling her hair.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a question. Like after hearing the class, why women need to go very unbearable pain? Means like example, Mother Sita, Draupadi, Kunti. So even Pandavas also faced so many, but feeling like priority women only felt so much pain and stress.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe this is.
I'm not sure I understand the question. It seems like only, why is it only women are bearing more pain? It doesn't seem like men are bearing that pain. Is that your question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prahlad was not a little girl. He was a little boy. And first of all, I think we should get out of this whole gender thing. But anyway, Prahlad was a little boy. He was fed poison, pushed from a mountain, thrown into a pit of snakes, trampled by mad elephants, thrown into a pot of oil. He's not a girl. If one is a devotee of Krishna, one should go through trouble. Boy or girl, man or woman, old or young. Everyone is put through the what our spiritual master calls fire of ordeal. No, Shiradika has a much better answer. She says that's why we get married, to inflict pain on men. She has she has the wisdom to say it. I mean, for a moment, when we hear these pastimes, to hear Draupadi's pain is not that only women feel pain in the heart. Oh, Draupadi. Even men feel. And I'm sure when you hear Prahlad or other Jatayu being tortured and his wings being cut off, his legs being cut off, it's not like, oh, that's the men. I'm sure you feel some pain too.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Hmm.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question. So why do like Mother Sita and Draupadi, the devotees,
Yes, go ahead.
why do devotees would undergo so much pain to execute the Lord's will?
Why do pain?
Is why do that Mother Sita and Draupadi they have to go undergo so much pain for the Lord's plan to execute, whether killing the Kauravas or to kill the Ravana?
Yeah, because one service to the Supreme Lord has to have a whole range of emotions where there is pain, sadness, joy, laughter, virility. There's the rasas. All of them have to mix thoroughly, right? Uh, and Krishna and Sri Ramachandra are Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So it's not okay that devotees don't get the full range of emotional, transcendental emotions in their interaction with the Lord. Otherwise, it's something lacking there. It's incomplete. Plus, the act of um, removing something unwanted in terms of what's there in the consciousness, when something is removed, there is pain because most people are holding on to it. The conditioned living entity holds on to his or her misery very strongly. And when it is being taken away, that grip that is being held by the conditioned living entity, when that grip is being challenged, it's painful. Like a wound or a wart, or when a bandage is there and you rip the bandage, there is hair that also comes out with it. It's painful. That's the nature of matter. That the pain is from the holding on. And all these devotees participate in the Leela to show what that pain looks like, one. And once when they're relieved of it, the joy of it. So Leela is a play, is a massive play. And in that play, where we as conditioned souls get to see what it looks like. So on a stage, uh, when this play is going on, you feel the pain and emotion of the character and you relate. So when the person is acting on stage, a good actor enters the character and feels the pain. It's like that. Draupadi and Kunti Devi are eternally liberated personalities, and they are participating in the grand Leela. So we will relate to it. I mean, my meditation has been Draupadi Devi for the past 6-7 months. Just the very act of she being dragged into the arena, and all the generals were quiet. So they like to participate in such drama, or Leela, if you will, of the Lord. Although they are not thinking, I'm in a drama, this is all play acting. No, they are in character.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. Anything else? You stop? Okay. Let's pause here. Radhashtami is coming up.
No.
Interesting. I don't know if you noted it ever. I'm sure you did. Ramachandra appears on a Navami. Sita Devi also appears on a Navami. It's called Sita Navami. Sri Krishna appears on an Ashtami. And Radharani also appears on an Ashtami. And Radhashtami she appears in the month of Bhadra. And her place or her presence gives us an appreciation of the full range of love that Krishna can experience. Because as Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi, they do not enact pastimes of rasa in what's called parakiya bhava. Their rasa is all swakiya, meaning within the boundary of marriage. Sri Ramachandra does not even does not even allow the shadow of another woman to fall on him. However, Lord Krishna, because the range is full, not only has Swakiya Rasas with 16,108 queens, but also has Parakiya relationships and exchanges with millions of cowherd women and girls. So his expression of rasa, of Parakiya nature, is the ultimate. And one cannot understand Parakiya rasa without Srimati Radharani in the picture. And therefore, she is one of the reasons why she is the most important personality in this ultimate spiritual understanding of Parakiya Rasa. So her appearance is a special boon on creation. Appearance in the material world is a boon on creation. So I wish all of us a wonderful Radhashtami festival. It's time to reflect on her presence in our lives. Her presence may not be obvious or direct because that's the role she plays. She's always in in the background. So even in the Bhagavatam, she's never in the foreground, but she's the one who's pretty much directing everything. But she manifests in our life as bhakti, and that bhakti has the power to attract us to Lord Sri Krishna, and more importantly, attract Krishna's attention upon us. Although nothing that I have done can even come close to attracting Krishna's attention, but because I still feel Krishna's presence in my life, it is because of Srimati Radharani's presence as Bhakti Devi, where I don't fully understand and appreciate and realize her presence, but she's there. And so I've been meditating that if Lord Kishora, for me, his attention is on somehow or the other, directly or indirectly upon me, is because of Kishori's blessings and her very loving nature. So I hope and wish all of us a wonderful, wonderful Radhashtami, and we meet again next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.